Back to the All American Savage Show podcast. I am your host, John Burke. We got a two-episode parter for you today. Number one, we got our special guest today, Ryan. I always say Fornier, but it's Fornier, so I apologize for that. We got Ryan Fornier on the show today, and then we're going to have another episode right after this with myself and Josh covering today's news and yesterday's news because we did this podcast already with Ryan. Ryan, thank you for your patience. I screwed up because the audio wasn't going through. My fault. Apologize for that. So thank you for being a good sport and coming back on the show and doing this again for us. So anyway, two episodes today. Man. And well, anyway, what's going on with you? We're pretty much reviewing everything we talked about yesterday. We're just going to do it in a more entertaining light, I guess. So that way you and I don't get bored with each other. So how have you been?
Yeah, I've been good, man. I've been good. How have you been? It's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've been on the show. So it's good to be back.
It's been almost a year. And then you said before that you taken a step back. You just need to recharge your batteries after the election season because you put in a lot of work. You put a lot of time and dedication out there campaigning, going over political topics, going to panels, podcasts. So what have you been up to in the space that you've kind of stepped back?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been in this since freshman year, first semester, 2015, when I started Students for Trump. So it's really been all I've known my entire adult life. So we've just been going, total balls to the wall 4+ years, with Trump in office, not only helping him get elected then, but also in 2020. And, I just realized, after the election, after J6, I mean, everyone was depressed. We were in the midst of COVID. There was nothing to do except live with your own thoughts. And it was horrible. It was miserable. Yeah. And, I realized, man, I need to take a break. I need to back away from all of this stuff because it's just so draining. It really puts a wear and tear on your life when you're just so involved, always on defense, going on offense on issues, always having to defend something or fight for something. So, many people felt that way. I think after J6, after the election and everything was over, people just turned off their TVs. They deleted their Twitter accounts. Yeah. And, I recharged. Or they got banned. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I recharged. I got into, some crypto stuff, made some money there. Started doing some more behind the scenes consulting. And most importantly, I started traveling more.
Where'd you go? Where you been?
So, I mean, Florida, New York New York City. I was there a week. Horrible, by the way. Don't go. It is still bad. It still sucks. Only time worth going is Christmas if you do go. South Carolina, Charleston, Savannah.
You're all over the place.
Went out to Texas. Yeah, just went to a bunch of different cities that, some I hadn't been to, some I had been, but it was mainly for work, a conference or, a speaking engagement. So it was really fun to spend a little bit more time to sort of, go see the rich history, especially Savannah. I mean, there's so much
Savannah's
history.
Beautiful, bro. Oh, I was stationed there.
Amazing.
I love Savannah.
Yeah. We saw quite a few military members there. It was awesome. But I mean, that's kind of what I, focused on more so was taking care of myself and taking a step back, letting my people run my accounts, engage me with the news. If there's something crazy I should look at, send it to me. If it's just more bullshit, just keep it away. I don't want to see it. But no, it was good. I'm recharged now, getting ready back in the fight. 2022. We got 24 coming up. We got all this crap with Trump, which is pissing people off like nothing else. So
we were talking about this last time. Let's just delve into the Mar-a-Lago raid, the weaponization of the FBI. What do you see happening in midterms coming up in 2022?
Well, I think this, among anything, has enraged the base. I think it's enraged some of your soft Democrats, some of your independents and your moderates. We're seeing that in the poll numbers that a lot of people do not believe that this was fairly done. Yeah. A great example to look at is that, even though most of the base of the MAGA Republicans wanted Hillary Clinton to be prosecuted, it didn't happen. And, even though it was disappointing, I can understand certain reasons as to why. Number one, it would further divide the country, and it would look as if Trump was going after a political opponent if she were prosecuted. They went ahead, did that exact thing to Trump, the thing that they said Trump should never do. They went and they did it to him plus 40 plus or so, of his allies when they raided their homes and took their phones. So, I mean, it's a disgrace what we're seeing. I think it's going to amplify the message. I think it's going to amplify the base. You have Dark Brandon or whatever the hell they are naming this guy to be. I don't know if you saw that. I mean, did. More like Dark Vegetable. I mean, it's the Veggie Tail president, this guy. And you get him up on a stage for a speech about unifying the country, the soul of the nation. That was Hitler in the Soviet Union had a baby. It was demonic. All he was doing was basically labeling half the country as racist, labeling half the country as insurrectionists.
That's the tactic it feels like they're going to take moving forward for the midterms, is that they can't run on anything Biden has actually accomplished. Instead, let's demonize the right. Let's just continue to paint them all as racists. Right. And like Josh, my partner, the co-host of the podcast, he always says, whatever Democrats accuse you of doing, they themselves are more than likely doing themselves. They accuse Trump of being authoritarian, all these things. I remember back when Trump wanted to throw a parade for the military in New York. It's like, oh, that's such an authoritarian move. It's like, yes, that's so authoritarian. Meanwhile, you've got the president sitting there, calling MAGA Republicans or Republicans in general extremists. It's like this, I thought Brandon was running on this platform of unification. I'm not seeing it, you know.
No, it's 100% right. And all of this is what it is it's poll data, right? They're polling these certain words like MAGA Republicans and semi-fascist. It's all these K Street consultants in Washington, D.C. feeding the White House this information like, oh, you need to go out and say this stuff. Make sure you tell the vegetable, that he needs to be using these terms. I'm beyond it at this point. Like I was going to give the guy good grace. I don't want a president to fail. I think we all can feel that way to an extent. But after Afghanistan, nope, that's it. I'm done. And I think that was most of the country. It's like, how can you, all the billions and billions and billions of dollars, if not trillions of dollars that went into the Middle East, gone within a span of a week, just gone. Now under Taliban control. I'm like, these kinds of things aren't mistakes. It's not like oopsie daisy accidentally hit the back of your car. We lost 13, 14 heroes. Yeah. In the span of a few, like I think it was a day, right? And it's disheartening, really. And to see him being so vicious to people, everyday Americans who right now look at this and they're like, man, while this guy is going after President Trump and his allies, I can barely afford to put food on the table or gas in my car.
It just seems to be the tactic they're going to continuously use is deflect. They're not going to talk about recession, inflation. They're not going to, and like we talked about last time, you think, produce prices are bad now. Wait till, fall's already here. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse because, again, farmers have already baked in the cost of inflation into their production. It's about to hit the market. And when it does, people are really going to be upset because I genuinely feel Democrats care as far until it hits them in their wallets. Then it's like, wait a minute, let's reevaluate what we're voting for here. And I think they're seeing that by and large, that this administration, I'd said it before, Biden really took office, but it's like, you know what? We need 4 years of Biden. We do. We need 4 years of Democrat control to see just how bad it can get under Democrats. But Democrats seem to double down on this idea. It's like, well, at least it's better than Trump. I mean, I see people out there saying, well, I don't mind paying higher gas prices as long as it's not Trump. It's like, are you that stupid? Like, you're that stupid that you hate this man. Like, they talk as if like Trump mentally raped them all. Like, he is just in their mouths and minds nonstop. It's like, my God, if Biden gets up there and gives a speech and all he's doing is talking about how bad Trump is, okay, fine. But how good are you? You're not showcasing any examples or any accomplishments because all Brandon wants to say is, hey, the president isn't responsible for gas prices. And then when gas prices go down, they sit there, they try and take all the glory. It's like, wait a minute, which is it, man?
Well, ask a Biden voter why they support Biden without using Trump's name, right? It's not going to happen. The reality here is that you look under Trump, the Dow, the stock market hit 126 all new record highs. Last week, in one day, the stock market lost 1.6 trillion freaking dollars. While they were celebrating the Inflation Reduction Act, the stock was literally crashing on screen live. You cannot make this up.
He was at the Detroit car show. He's sitting there in the Corvette. He's walking through. He's saying all these things, and I'm watching the like you said, the scroll things. Like, this is how stupid this administration thinks the public is. And this, I hate to say this, but they're kind of right. Because there are still people within the DNC that will buy whatever this clown says, hook, line, and sinker.
Right. Well, they'll defend him too. You see it this guy, even when Afghanistan happened, they were defending him on TV about this stuff, saying, oh, it's not his fault. It's Trump's failed policies. And I'm like, it was his decision. It was his decisions that he made like weeks before that led to that. it's, you look at, and the scary thing going back to the economy is that, we're on recession's doorstep right now. When you look at food prices, they're up like 13%. Electricity is up like 15%, and gas is still up 33%. And they cheer this stuff on. They cheer the lowering of gas prices. And like you said, they initially don't want to take responsibility when the gas prices are high, but when it comes down, they're on every news network, lauding this president for lowering the gas prices as if. You guys raised the damn gas prices.
Exactly,
like under Trump, we had like $1.79 gas. What? And it's still expensive. And it's, the gas stations too, they're not going to lower the prices until all the fuel in their tanks underground is gone. And that, that takes a while some places.
It's scary to see where we're going to go from here. But what are you predicting? What is your profession? You do this a lot. What are you predicting for midterms? What do you see happening?
Well, I'll say that, there's certain areas that are going to be safe. Arizona is going to be safe. Texas is going to be safe. Florida is going to be safe. But there's a lot of areas too. It's very close in Pennsylvania. I think a lot of us, when we saw that Trump endorsed Oz, we were kind of like, what? This guy's like a Mitt Romney.
Well, it's funny you bring Oz
strategy in many
because
ways.
Oz originally took that endorsement and then removed Trump from his website. So it did feel like a Romney moment, like Romney's going to kiss Trump's ass, get the endorsement, and then just basically throw him to the wind, throw him to the wolves. And I'm hoping Oz doesn't do the same thing. Well, not in the sense of so here's where I stand. I feel like if Trump does something wrong, you need to criticize him. You should criticize him. Anyone that goes contrary to the Constitution should be criticized. But Romney is nothing but a bad faith politician. That guy, he's a rhino, man. You want to talk about the rhino in name? That's him. He's like a McCain as well.
Yeah, no, these people believe they're so self-righteous. They think they're a statesman of some sort. It's appalling to me because Romney was always against Trump ever since that photo was released of Romney having that little weird smile. I don't know if you remember that photo where he's sitting at dinner with Trump. Ever since he was trolled over that photo by the right and by Trump, because he was really there trying to kiss Trump's ass to get the Secretary of State job. Trump wouldn't give it to him. And then he turned into this crybaby. And then that led to everything we've seen thus far. But getting back to, sort of the election, it's not going to be secure all across the board. We may have a red wave, but it's going to take the work. People actually got to get out there and vote. People got to get out there and advocate for these candidates, help them out, volunteer, do something. Don't just be a Twitter warrior, I still door knock to this day. It's not beneath me. I think everyone should get out there and do their part because, the Constitution's on the line. The country's on the line. Everything that we've fought for. And we spoke about this, yesterday when we lost audio recordings about executive orders, and when Biden got into office, we just saw all of these things that Trump did wiped away because there were, they were executive orders. He just rescinded every single one of them. So, it's one of those things. I think when you look at who's in office, elections have consequences, and we're about an inch away from losing so much. The Second Amendment, certain elements of freedom of speech, religion. All these things that have come under such an attack and scrutiny with COVID. It's scary times for America.
It's insane because Democrats, I've had debates with people like Destiny and Valsh and people like that. And the not Destiny so much. Destiny is a pro 2A guy, but the common theme that I hear a lot of these leftist talking points being used are that we're not coming for your guns. I don't know why y'all are freaking out. It's like, yes, you are. I was like, there's over 23,000 gun laws on the books now. They're trying to restrict AR-15 sales left and right. And it's like, so let's break this down from a common sense approach. If the goal essentially is to minimize gun violent deaths, fair enough.
Right.
Then let's look at the statistics of what guns or what style guns are used in most homicides. It's not rifles. It's pistols. By and large, pistols, hands down. The reason they're going for the AR-15 is it's the most prominent weapon system used in these mass shootings, and the MSM is magnifying this. So it's not really about saving lives. It's about just pandering to the social media mob and the most popular thing to go after. So they're going after the AR-15. Well, what happens when they eventually start getting their heads out of their ass and say, wait a minute, it's pistols being used? Then they're going after pistols. So you're 100% right. They are going after the Second Amendment.
I would say this too, because I've spoken about this quite a few times, where when you look up the term assault weapon or assault rifle, term was made up. It doesn't exist. It dated back to a Harvard study. It was used in a Harvard study that I think a professor wrote. He made up the term. It doesn't appear in any military manuals or handbooks or anything like that. But they use the semi-automatic weapons, the AR, because they're modifiable. You can modify it if you want to do hog hunting or home defense. There's multiple ways that you can modify that rifle. And the only reason why they go after that one is because it's an easy target because of that. They're using this to gin up fear amongst an already uneducated population. Half of the people, when you talk to them, they think AR means automatic rifle.
Yeah.
When it does, when it doesn't.
Rifle, yeah.
Yeah, or assault rifle. So there's just a lot of misinformation out there, and the Democrats, they prey on that. They prey on, I don't know, they always fact check us, but half of the stuff that they come out here and see, it's like Maxine Waters, when she was out on, she was in the Capitol when she was talking about what chambers. I think she was saying like an AR can shoot 50 caliber bullets, and I'm sitting here like, no way.
Listening to a liberal talk about gun statistics and gun use is like listening to a virgin telling you how to fuck. It's like, what? You don't even know what you're talking about. I can't tell you how many times I've seen some stupid California Democrat stand on that podium and say, this is a ghost gun. It fires 1,000 rounds a second from a clip. You're like, dude, are you retarded? Like, do you even know what you're talking about? Like, sit down. It's like you're describing a minigun. Bro, even a minigun. Who fires anything from a clip, like a stripper clip and an M1 Garand? Like, okay, maybe that. Yeah. Well, get out of here with this. It's so stupid.
No, the verbiage is off, and it's like, man, if you really want to make a valid point, do your homework. Like, actually go out there and shoot a firearm, which most of these people have never done in their entire lives. They just don't get it. They just go with these talking points and the pejoratives that they call us just because we want to protect ourselves. We want to defend ourselves. Make no mistake. These people would rather see you face down dead in the street than being able to protect yourself and your family. And it's the saddest, most sadistic shit I've ever seen. And I never thought that we would have to be on a national stage defending someone's right to own an AR. Or a pistol, for that matter.
Children from being mutilated under the knife, like, my God, we have the president of the United States of America saying that he's okay with puberty blockers for children. Ryan, we're in 2022. Like we said before, I thought we'd be talking about flying cars, curing cancer. We are literally talking about Matt Walsh's "What is a Woman?" That's what we're talking. This is how stupid our country has become.
No, and then I don't know if you just saw this story out of Canada with the big fake tittied teacher.
Oh my God,
with the obscene looking nipples that you can see through the shirt. This is a shop teacher.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything more ridiculous in my life, and they're defending him.
No,
that's
absolutely.
a guy. They're defending him, and I'm like, all of these stories that we've seen. I mean, and the sad thing about it, the sad reality about it is that when these kids go to these gender clinics, which I think there's over 55 now in the US compared to like the 1 or 2 in 2008, they're going there because they have like anxiety, they have depression, they have other sort of foundational issues that need to be addressed, and they're not addressed. Instead, for profit, these hospitals just go right to the gender affirmation care. They just push that. They don't even bother to address the other issues. That's the real problem in this country. We have a major mental health crisis.
Yeah. I agree. Right now, speaking of platforms in the past, like we're live on YouTube again. My All American Savage Show page didn't get pulled down for some reason, but to those YouTube people that are listening, we're over on Rumble now. My main John Ross page, the John Burke with over 300,000 followers, they banned it. They didn't ban this one. I don't know why we got like 122 YouTube viewers. I don't know how long until they ban this one. I don't even have access to that page anymore, guys. Now I'm over on Rumble. The views are going through the roof. Come over to Rumble, just John Burke. I appreciate your love and support. I'm tired of supporting these leftist platforms. We actually have a call with Rumble next week as far as ad revenue, spend with them, Public Square app. We're talking to them because I've said in the past, like, I don't believe in a dual economy. I think it's going to end badly. But now, bro, I've changed my mind again. It's like I don't see any other option. When you have these leftist companies and corporations supporting these, I'll just say it, I'm banned on everything, so why not? We didn't see the unraveling of our society until we included the trans community. Once the trans community, which is by and large mentally handicapped, these people are mentally deranged. I don't care who knows that, if you disagree. And I'm all for freedom to do what you want. You want to chop your thing off and turn your innie into an Audi or I don't care. I don't want to pay for it. But we cannot ignore the fact that the fabric of our society has become unraveled when we embraced that mental delusion. And when you've got a 64% suicide rate in that community, that sends up a message of like, this is not normal. This should never be normalized. And then we had let me just end it here. This is what's happened. The generation of everyone gets a trophy has now grown up and have kids. That's the problem.
Yep. No, you're 100% right. We live in this society now where, common sense is just non-existent anymore.
Oh my God.
Where if you're offended, we have to take your viewpoint and make it law.
Yeah.
It's like fantasy land. And when you look at the people that are affected by this stuff, these kids who have parents who are just, you look at the parents and you can sort of tell the rest of the story where it's like, they just have no clue how to raise a kid. And there's just so much dysphoria related gender crap going on in their family. I think we spoke about this yesterday where the dad transitioned to a woman, the mom transitioned to a man, and now the kid is doing it. I think it was the model.
Yeah.
I'm like,
we were talking about that yesterday. For those that don't know,
who in the hell allows these people to have kids? Where's the social workers?
Where's CPS?
What was that?
Where's CPS?
Yeah, instead they're going to homes and taking kids away from, gun owners and stuff like that. I remember that was a crazy story, I think from 2018 or 19. The guy owned guns and they came and tried to take his kids away from him. I'm like, you should be taking the kids away from these parents who are going to these doctors who are willy-nilly trying to cut off, kids Peter, turn any Audi. It's horrible. I can't even muster up the right words to say how frustrated and furious I am because yeah, sure. If you want to change from a boy or a girl, that's fine. Go do it. I don't care. Identify as a unicorn. Yeah. When you're at legal age, but don't shove it down my throat. Same thing with this pedophilia issue where you had this teacher in El Paso, Texas, saying that, we're not going to refer to a pedophile as a pedophile because that's offensive. They're instead a minor attracted person. And then she also said, don't judge someone just because they want to have sex with a 5-year-old. What in the fuck?
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, never in a million years did I think that we would be at this crossroad right here. Never in a million years.
No, we've crossed the Rubicon. I look at this, it's the 500 years of Rome.
Yeah.
When you look at the 500 years of Rome, where half of it was a republic. And then you go into this, theocracy, this emperorship.
Yep.
And it's just the fall. It falls apart. And in this country, I see so many similarities. It's not just one issue. It's numerous issues that led to that fall. And we're seeing it right now in America. And it's the scariest thing.
Yeah, it is. It's ridiculous. When, again, I cannot, whenever you debate somebody on the left, and I'm more centrist myself. I'm more, I wouldn't say libertarian because they gatekeep like nothing I've ever, like tighter than Mother Teresa's thighs. Like they're insane. It's like, you're not a real libertarian. That's why LPs never go anywhere. But I do think of myself as like a freedom loving constitutionalist. There's some things with the GOP I don't like and I don't agree with. But when I see leftists debating anything when it comes into the realms of gender or things such as that, they always want to quote their science. And their science studies come from these scientists that are not actual scientists like we saw with the COVID thing. These are actual activists with degrees. That's all it is. You're an activist with a degree. And it's not that you are conforming your opinion to match the scientific outcome. You are doing the exact opposite. You're trying to manipulate the science to go towards your political bias. So when they took out like gender dysphoria in the DCM-5 and tried to recategorize it and rename it and not really match it to trans people, it's like, okay, now you're just trying to change the science to match the popular opinion. That's all this is. And that's why I don't take these people seriously anymore. When they want to debate their studies, well, where did the study come from? Who funded the study? Who did the research? And I want to know their political background.
Yeah. That's like the number one no-no when it comes to scientific findings and thesis building is not being biased in your data collection efforts. Like it just nullifies the entire study 100%. At that point. But you're right. They go off of this data. Yeah. They'll send you a CNN article. And I'm like, okay, that's, it's like
it's
an
no different than
piece.
Fox, though. Let's be honest. Fox, even Fox is turning against Trump. Like, Trump's been calling Fox out. But when you have these MSM networks, like, who do you go to for accurate news? Before the show, I pull up these various articles that I want to talk about that I see on MSM outlets. And I went to CNN yesterday because I like to pull from their various different sources. And all CNN had was nothing but the Queen. Literally every article. It's like, who gives a fuck about the Queen? I don't care about the Queen.
Every article.
So then you go over to Fox and they're going more so of Biden's failures. So now even CNN is doing damage control to their network because they are crumbling fast. And they did it to themselves. You did it to yourselves.
Yeah, no, Don Lemon on
Oh my
TV
God.
saying, "Oh, he got a promotion to morning news." But morning news isn't a promotion. You're just lame as hell, and you have
Yeah.
no viewership.
You're
You
right.
know, a couple drunk nights on New Year's Eve, and you lost your entire audience over it. Yeah, but and they're firing all their big hosts, and you know, I think that they're trying to do a realignment. I think they're trying to find themselves back to the center. I think it's the right move. But there's going to be a lot of suffering in between, you know, now and getting to that point. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the network, you know, falls flat. I mean, if they have no talent, 100%. They have no one there. And, you know, I don't know. I think that all these outlets sort of, you know, did this to themselves, you know, spending 4+ years attacking this guy. Trump is just the ratings king. They only talk about him because he brings them ratings.
Yeah. I mean, he gets them angry. They tune in, they listen. And it's, you know, and the thing is, like, Trump's still getting the views. He still has to pull the rallies he does. He's still getting the numbers turned out. It's all going to get worse for the left. The more you demonize this guy, the more you attack. If CNN was smart, they would have ignored Trump. They would have just stayed away from him and let Trump do his own thing. But they couldn't have done that, though, because honestly, Trump's numbers were great. The economy was booming. We were doing wonderful. But CNN didn't want to admit that. So you had all these Hollywood A-listers and shit like that. They were just trying to, you know, attack him nonstop, and it blew up in their face.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, there's nothing notable about Biden. He's accomplished nothing. There's nothing that you can write an article about.
Hell no.
You know, to get news clicks. There's nothing. Like, Trump not only could do that, he knew how to move merch. You know, the Make America Great Again had, you know, Brandon has nothing like that, right? It's like,
no, he doesn't.
I don't know. He doesn't. You know, he's the, what was that saying? It was like no malarkey or something like that. Like, bro, are you campaigning to Civil War veterans? Who the hell says no malarkey? It was
that's the way they are. It's so funny to watch, but I don't know. But we're definitely going to be using the show to like try and push people to get out to the polls, go vote, get out there, don't sit around, don't think this red wave is going to come on its own. You have to be there. You've got to, you know, what do they say? Go vote and take 3 friends with you. Go vote, go turn. Because again, you get what you vote for. If you don't vote, bro, I mean, we get more.
And this is a critical election. I mean, we're talking about potentially taking back the House with a fair amount of seats and the Senate. I mean, if we do that, we deadlock Biden right where he's at. But I also have the same, you know, sort of position where it's like, man, if we get you guys back in, and I pray to God this does not happen. If we get you back in, you better investigate Hunter Biden. You better do something about the border crisis. You better do. I mean, we got to actually do things. You know, we can't have another 2017 where we flip-flopped on every single issue. Bro, you know, healthcare failed at that. Failed at the border issue, which is why people wanted Trump in office to begin with. It's like, if we give you power and you do nothing, then you don't deserve our votes anymore. Exactly. It's got to come down to that. You know, Mitch McConnell, all these people who have went past their, you know, expiration date. Yeah. They do not represent this new generation of young MAGA America First conservatives. They just don't. I mean, you got Bo Hines, you got Myra Flores, you got Anna Paulina in Florida. Name some others off. We have a whole list of people.
You got Catalina. She's out of Illinois, I believe. There's just a lot of people out there that are trying to go out there and go after these boomer neocons and just get rid of them. It's like, you don't need to be here. You become antiquated. You no longer reflect the values of what. And like I said before, the GOP, if the GOP really wants to put up a fight to the DNC, progress a little bit, move more centrist, get away from the theocrats, get away from the QAnon first and foremost. That was just a big issue there. That and I know I'm going to catch a lot of crap for that, but I mean, my God, I think they're still talking about like, oh, Trump's actually going to come back and put Biden in. Just like, shut the hell up. It's just, these people keep going. They keep moving the goalposts. But anyway, if the GOP can really go after the left by trying to secure the moderate Democrats, and they can do it because the DNC keeps going further and further left off the rails because they let the weirdos and the whack jobs run and ruin their party. I encourage it. The more they want to molest children and sexually objectify them, it's like, it's disgusting, but the more you double down on this, the more you are alienating your moderate base. And the boomers, I hate saying this, the boomers are the ones that turn out the most in the polls. So if you want to freaking keep going down this road, you are going to sink yourself. And I'm here for it. I encourage it.
No, I do too. I just hope, you know, there's destruction in the process of it all. And it's sad. It's like, there's kids out there that are getting these surgeries all the time. You know, they're going to grow up and they're going to hate themselves. And they're going to still have the same anxiety and the same depression. It's only going to be worse. And so that's who I pray for all the time. It's these, you know, these kids who have these sick, sadistic parents, you know, but they are digging them just like with defund the police. We remember how much that backfired on them, where they wanted social workers to replace armed law enforcement officers.
Yep.
Like, the ideology there, that was probably the beginning of the crazy train for me when we're seeing this, because now it's evolved into, transgender issues, accepting of pedophiles. I've met, Rob Smith is one of them, but I have quite a few gay friends, who grew up way before I did. And, they were telling me, they're like, these 80s and 90s gays and lesbians who fought for their rights and stuff, they look at this new movement as a threat to their rights, as a threat to all of what they've done, because it's like, now you want us to embrace this transgender stuff. You want us to embrace pedophiles. You want pedophiles to not be, labeled in a negative sense just because they want to do things with a kid. I'm like, okay, no, full stop. There's only one solution for a pedophile. and it's most definitely not honoring them.
No, absolutely not. I mean, and the other thing is, like, I don't understand how anybody with a normal rational sense and good grasp on reality would ever think it's okay to put a child in a drag queen show. And every drag queen show, whether liberals want to accept this or not, it's sexually based. It's sex-based. And so, well, no, it's not. Yes, it is. You are a man pretending to be a woman. You are changing sexes and dressing the part. Therefore, it is sex-based. Whether you like that or not.
And it's not like...
And even if, the only argument they could have to counter that is like, well, name the sexual things we do. Bro, libs of TikTok, like you've talked about before, they showcase every one of these shows, and the men are in there in skimpy clothing doing these gyrating moves, which, again, in adults, do whatever you want. I don't care. Go crazy. And kids, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, the line between a strip club and a drag show in 2022, the line is very blurry. I've seen videos where you have parents giving money to their little kids to run up to these, fake breasted. They're wearing pasties. They're wearing thongs. They're wearing like 6-inch heels, parading themselves on a stage on a stripper pole. And you see a 5-year-old running up to them, putting money on the stage. One of them, the dude dressed as a woman, like lifted her bikini for the kid to put the money in her bra.
I saw that.
I just can't. It's like, can we get the asteroid now rather than later?
It's coming. I told you before, I don't think this is a right versus left issue anymore. I think this is honestly good versus evil. You have demon-possessed, crazy, wacko people. So like you said, the 500-year Roman Empire, why did it fall? Due to immorality and political corruption. We are literally the exact same route. We're only, 250, 260 years into existence? We're getting there quick. This is like Sodom and Gomorrah 2.0.
Yeah, it also doesn't help when you have like the World Economic Forum, Paul Schwab and his, squad of real life fascists, talking about a great reset where we have companies having a invested interest in governance. And I'm like, okay, Walmart is not going to tell me how to live my life.
Exactly.
Okay. It's like, no, they want to change the way the whole world works. They want this one government system. They want a united currency. I'm like, you guys have a really crazy idea that sounds good in a book, but implementing that is going to have real life effects.
Explain to me how you're going to unify with Islamic zealots and terrorists that want to see you dead because you are for equal rights. You think they're going to buy into your one world currency? And then let's talk about like China and Russia and other places like that are creating their own currency that exclude the EU and USA. It's like, okay, well, that ain't gonna happen, but we're almost up on time. We got 2 minutes left because Zoom and stupid thing there. But anyway, Ryan, I want to say thank you for coming on today. Where can people find you out on social media?
Yeah, so you can just look me up. My username is Ryan A. Fornier, Fournier. It's a very confusing last name. But yeah, I'm on Truth Social, Facebook, Instagram, Getter. I'm like all of them, so you can find me there.
Well, man, thank you so much for coming on the show. We got to get you back again. And next time we're doing it on Skype, I'll figure it out. Zoom apparently only lets you have a certain time frame, which is just stupid. But anyway, don't go anywhere. We're going to have another episode for you right after this on Rumble, YouTube channel. I have All American Savage Show. Come over to Rumble, just John Burke. You can find me over there. That's where we go live at. Ryan, I want to say a big thank you again for coming on here. And we look forward to talking with you more in the future. Especially when we get
do it. Appreciate it.
I would love
to
get you on here when midterms are right around the corner because I really want to get more in depth with your predictions and see what do you think is going to happen with the GOP and DNC there.
Oh, it's going to be interesting. And, I think the closing messages here is do not give up the faith. Keep fighting. I know it feels like we've been curb stomped every day for years by the media and the left. Do not give up, because if we do, we lose everything we've ever had, everything we fought for, everything that this country truly stands for. So keep the faith, guys.
Ryan, thank you for being here, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Good night, y'all.